Welcome to day 330 of the New Way. I'll read Matthew 27:36 through 37. And sitting down, they kept watch over him there. Above his head they placed the written charge against him. This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. And Mark 15:25 and 26. It was 9 a.m. when they crucified him. The written notice of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." In Luke 23:38, there was a written notice above him which read, "This is the King of the Jews." In John's version gives us a little more information. John 19:19 through 22. Pilate had a notice prepared and fastened to the cross. It read, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." Many of the Jews read this sign, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and the sign was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. The chief priest of the Jews protested to Pilate, "Do not write the King of the Jews, but that this man claimed to be the King of the Jews." Pilate answered, "What I have written, I have written." Jesus' name, his hometown, and his crime were written in 3 languages. Aramaic was the common language of the Jewish people at that time, not Hebrew. Latin was the language of Rome. Greek was the language of the Galilean area, since there were many Greek colonies and military outposts there. All 3 languages were used so that pretty much everyone could read the charges. Pilate chose King of the Jews as his crime. This could indicate he was feeling that maybe it was true, and was indicating a beginning belief in Jesus and who he said he was. But more than likely, it was just to give him some political clout. To say that he had crucified the King of the Jews sounded better than that Pilate had crucified an itinerant preacher who irritated the Jews. Now we know that he crucified the King of the universe, God in human flesh. We are also given the time of the crucifixion. In Mark 15:25, Mark records, it was 9 a.m. when they crucified him. The term crucifixion was the time that they nailed him to the cross, not the time of death. Many criminals hung there for several days before dying. Some died more quickly, depending on their health at the time. To reestablish the timeline, Jesus was arrested on Thursday night after his Seder feast with his disciples. He was taken to both high priest for a mock trial and then left with the soldiers and was tortured all night. Early on Friday morning, probably well before 6 a.m., he was taken to Pilate, then Herod, then back to Pilate. He was flogged until almost dead, then taken back to Pilate, who ordered him to be crucified sometime between 6 and 7 a.m. All of this took place before 9 or 10 a.m. on Friday, when he was nailed to the cross. We've talked before that no one was wearing watches, so these are all approximate times. In his service, Dale.